Hey folks, Krystle here, and today we're going to celebrate a little bit the life and career of the late Robin Williams. May he rest in peace. It's been a little bit since his passing, a few months now, but we're just getting around to talking about it, and that's what we're going to do. And we reviewed a movie that he did today. He started today, and for what? I'm missing something on here.
Review. Movie review. No duh.
Nanu.
Nanu.
What
was that? Oh yeah, it was Mork and Mindy, the first show that Robin Williams appeared on as he appeared on Happy Days as the crazy alien.
Yeah,
that's where he got his first start.
That's from Mork and Mindy, because it was a spin-off, right?
Yeah, it was a spin-off for that, and that's what led on to Mork and Mindy.
And that was, as far as I understand, his first big career move that really got him into Hollywood. And we were talking about some of our personal favorite movies that he's done. And you mentioned Miss Doubtfire. That's a great one.
Yes.
Classic.
To the lovely lady who was run by fruiting.
And then I like Death to Smoochie. That's a really great movie.
I saw bits and pieces of that.
And all of his stand-up. He's got a ton of stand-up over the years.
Weapons of self-destruction. How about this, ladies? Blue tits. And, it's like, put a little squeak toy. And, when you put a whistle on my dick and when you blow me, I go, woo!
We got Jumanji. Classic Robin Williams. I love that movie when I was a kid. I think we both seen it about 100 times.
When I was in class, when there was just a test, and I didn't have a test, they would play that movie like 1,000 times in our classroom.
It is one of those movies that hangs around for some reason.
It just sits on shelves.
The VHS version of Jumanji. And you got Hook. This movie, Number One Dad, that you mentioned, this sounds very bizarre, solemn, not so much a comedy. And we got the genie's voice from Aladdin. I love that.
What is it?
I love the
10,000 years can be such a crick in the neck.
It's such a crick in the neck.
You come down here, you rub my lamp.
You're on 3 wishes.
Yeah, he gets him up to the top, and then he says, well, I guess I have those 3 wishes. He says, son, you are down to 1. And he's like, well, I kind of didn't want to get out of the cave. And he's just like, whoa.
Technically, that wasn't a wish. Yeah.
Technically.
Ooh.
He's like, don't I feel sheepish?
Right, no more freebies.
No more freebies.
Oh, so the movie that we are reviewing today is What Dreams May Come.
Very dramatic.
Also, very dramatic, not a comedy.
And it's I have to say, it really pulls on your emotional strings, because a lot of times people, for what the message was, I would say, was a man goes through heaven and hell to save his wife because of his love for her. And
it was a super like ridiculously sweet love story situation going on, like the whole soulmate thing they had aspect. It was the only reason why he was able to find her the way that he did and all this stuff. It's a beautiful movie. It's a nice movie. It has plenty of things wrong with it though.
Yeah, plenty of things. And
I thought it was funny that even the menu screen when we started the movie was just weird.
Yes, and all it is an earth and then a line and 2 dots, and you click the dots. You click the top dot.
And then on one side there's fire, on the other side there's an angel. And then you just click one of the dots and then it takes you to where you can select. Never really seen anything like that before.
Never really. I've never seen anything like that.
But I think it's the very first thing that we noticed while it was like 5 minutes into the movie is when he and she were walking down the aisle together getting married.
Doesn't the
husband and wives, they don't walk down the aisle?
No, they don't. The father is normally there to walk down his daughter. I'm like,
and the groom waits at the pivot.
Yes.
That's how it always goes. It was kind of strange, it was kind of stuck out, that's not how that would happen. And it was all for the sake of having this cutesy little scene where she trips in her high heels and they giggle down the aisle.
Yeah.
It was cute, but it was you completely changed the rules and everybody caught you so that you could do that. And then I also wondered why that little girl as a doctor, when everything was still okay and he was alive, everybody was alive, he asked her to cover her mouth, and then said that's how he knew she had migraines, because it made her feel better. I never really understood that one.
Not really. I kind of like thinking.
Yeah, like I'm gonna.
Now you can see now, child. And just smack you on the back of the head. You don't need to go to a doctor. That's all you gotta do. Work it, damn it.
It's just like migraines. Wait, how? And he sits her there for a while. You know, he's on the phone. He's like, "Okay, you just keep your mouth covered, and that's supposed to." Right. And this one you pointed out, which was very true, that the guide at the beginning, who's played by Cuba Gooding Jr. And another thing, just all these characters are switched around and switched back again, and they look like somebody else, but they're really somebody else.
Yeah.
And even somebody else again. Like, it's kind of, you know, like, it's very artsy sometimes.
One of the things that caught me is when he is finally in his own, because they say that you create your own paradox, and he was a painter, so he made pictures of the first.
His wife was the painter.
I thought he was the painter. She always said that's how he expressed. She said.
No, he loved art, but she was the painter.
Oh, okay. That's how. Oh, I got that backwards. I was thinking.
You remember, because she's painting the tree, the purple tree, after he was dead.
Oh, that's right. And then she said you'll never see it, and then she just put the water on the
painting,
and it just completely dies where he is. And
I mean, the movie is very strange, because if you haven't seen it, well, this is going to completely spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again, because it's strange and it's very sad. I mean, the premise is that first their two children die, their son and daughter, and then you find out later that she attempted to commit suicide after they died, and he didn't, and then there was something sort of like a disconnect there with her, because she felt like maybe he wasn't suffering as much as she was, or he wasn't as sad as she was, and there was this sort of like created a little bit of a barrier between them for a while. And then he dies, she's left all alone, her whole family is dead, she ends up actually committing suicide, and she goes to like purgatory, and he's got to go find her, and that's how the whole thing is. There's just a lot of dying, like everybody in the family at the end is dead.
And that's the only way that they can be reunited. It's like, I have neighbors, but they're all dead because they all died in car accidents, and one committed suicide.
Well, it's poor neighbor.
Poor neighbors. Hey, can you imagine going to the real estate agent? Hey, I know they just recently died, but how much is that house really? You know, I've always liked their patio.
Diminished property value because somebody killed themselves in it. It's a buyer's market.
It's a buyer's market.
Oh God,
was it a man that died in there, or was it a woman? It was a woman. I'm gonna have happy dreams tonight. Why, sir? You'll see.
Creep. Apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right along to the point of this in the first place is. So Cuba Gooding Jr. plays his guide when Robin Williams' character Chris first enters into heaven. And
Krystle, his name was.
And Chris, but she called him Christy. That was weird. There was all these little weird things. But anyway.
It's a woman's name, you know?
Yeah, but that's what she called him.
Give him a guy. Of course, it's not wrong to name a boy. You know.
Anyway, at some point,
sorry,
Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is like kind of walking his ghost, the ghost of Chris, through like the reality, like the real world, where his wife is still alive and she's at home and she's by herself and she's in really, really bad shape. And he allows Robin Williams or Chris to talk to his wife, even though it really, really actually upsets her very much, because she can't see him, but she can hear his voice, so she's like having a mental breakdown. She's completely alone. And Cuba Gooding Jr., Albert, who later we find out isn't actually Albert, it's actually his son.
Why would his son do that? Why?
Then that even adds another layer to it, because it was his son the whole time, and he should have known better.
What was it? I'm still real, or I'm still here?
I still exist.
I still exist. Like, I'm thinking right there, wow, you know,
If you're really screwing with your poor
You're
wife's
pushing-
head right now, like real bad.
like, honestly, it's like, why? Go on to the next world and just do what you have to do, because the fact is...
And he does learn quickly that he has to do that.
Yes.
He gets it like, okay, I gotta move on.
Yeah, I need to move on. And that the most interesting scene is him, now, what I find interesting, because he dies in a tunnel where his car flies up surprisingly, as if all the cars are immediately stopped, if you notice that, Krystle. All the cars are stopped, but this one car, as he gets out of his car, hits a car and goes flying.
Yeah, who would do that? Who's going so fast that they can't see this huge wreck on the street?
Yeah, honestly.
With the red flashing lights against the tunnel walls that were just like as obvious as could be.
Yeah.
And they're
red
just like,
lights.
Well, that's kind of strange. People probably wouldn't act like that.
No, and that's just because it's a movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when, and in this movie's no exception, that they sort of just make shit up as they go along for the
Like
sake of
Good
the
Morning Vietnam?
storyline that they want. There's another one, Good Morning Vietnam.
And actually, I'm sorry to get off topic. I just want to say, everything in that movie, if you look at everything in that movie, Good Morning Vietnam, none of that movie is true besides the name of the guy. It said, Good Morning Vietnam!
Yeah, that's how it goes when you take any kind of a story that's supposed to be true and it goes through hands and it gets changed and then all of a sudden it's a movie and it's barely even the truth anymore.
Yeah, they fluff it up.
But so you probably know, even if you haven't seen the movie or if you haven't seen it in a long time, that he shows up, his very first heaven is a world of paint. And he's kind of in his wife's painting. And everything is really beautiful, but it's all made of paint. And I think it was kind of funny if you notice, like, at one instant he'd have his hands covered in paint, and then he'd have, like, a couple of spots on his jacket.
Yeah.
And he's really, literally, like, he would be literally covered in paint. Because when he would walk, it was all squishy. They made it squishy. I thought they shouldn't even make it squishy. Why does it need to literally be paint? You know what I mean? Like, it could have just been, like, looked like a painting, but his clothes were clean most of the time. They just had a few, like,
spots
little,
and
like,
stuff
streaks
like that.
of paint on it. It was really kind of strange. There's a lot of scenes that I thought were a little bit, like, there's a couple of scenes that I thought were misplaced or ill-placed, like the comic relief of the bird pooping on him.
Yes, he's like, I did that.
I mean, it was like, I was like, that didn't really fit into that scene very well. I mean, it was like whatever, I guess. It was just whatever. And when he was underwater talking,
he's
and
like,
he's got all the bubbles.
Yeah, nice
like,
detour. What was it? No, nice
shortcut.
Nice shortcut. And he's like, why can't, if Robin Williams if the character is dead, you know, why is it that he is going underneath the water and not walking on the water like his guide? You know, he's dead. He has no, he feels like he wants, and for the whole movie he's like, you want to feel like you want to have a body, so that's what you imagine you having.
Yeah, that's another thing that he said to him, oh, well, you feel comfortable in your body, so you still imagine that it's there even though it's not. And that makes sense for somebody who maybe just died and they just arrived to the afterlife. But everybody there did that.
Yeah,
like, everybody had a physical body, no matter how long they had been there. And you didn't really ever go to the place where, yeah, you go to hell and you go to purgatory and you go to heaven. But what about the people that have been there for hundreds and thousands and millions of years or whatever, or however long, you know, like just really, really long time ago that somebody died, and they still just have physical bodies. Why not? Why are they in bodies?
Yeah.
Need them.
Why?
They would know by now.
They're floating souls. And that's what they say when you die and go to heaven, that no one really will know who anybody is, but just the memory of that person that it was their family member, that they will greet you with the love and care that they knew you here on earth.
Yeah, and they were in physical bodies that weren't even theirs. Like Cuba Gooding Jr. was the guy who he interned under as a doctor that Chris really admired, but it wasn't even actually Albert. It was Albert at the point he died but younger. Like it was Albert died at 63, remember?
Yeah.
But as he's in heaven, he's only like 20. But then he's not even. So he's dies as old Albert, comes in as young Albert, and then isn't even Albert at all.
Yeah.
Albert's some old white dude. You know, like it's just like, what is the point in all of this, like switching around? I mean, I get it, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. How to explain it? Is it a little silly sometimes? Maybe?
A little bit silly, and I guess he's always trying to help his father, but at the same time, he wants to let him know that, you know, he's the one. He finally realizes that. I think he says it also to his son. He's like, "I will go through, you know, heaven and hell with you, son."
Yeah, he does say that.
Yeah, and through the portion of the movie, it really gets emotional because he goes to hell, to purgatory or hell, to rescue his wife, and you know he gets down there and he goes through all this scenery and realizes that it's his son, and you know you're sitting there and you're thinking, why at first did he not think that this guy possibly, why is it that, you know, his kids didn't just automatically show him and greet him? You know,
yeah.
Why is it? They're dead. They would be expecting him. They would be knowing. God, you know, is all knowing and everything, but why is it that they would not expect him just to come because they know that's when he was dying? So it's interesting.
And when you mentioned God, but they don't really, they mentioned God briefly once.
One time.
There's not really
He loves us. He's up there.
He said, I think he's up there telling us that he loves us and wondering why we can't hear him, and that was literally it. And that's, in my opinion, that was good. Because if you're going to give me this artistic, sort of obscure representation of the afterlife and heaven and hell and all that stuff, then do it and let's leave God out of it. Like, let's not make it religious. Let's just make it about a love story that takes place in the afterlife.
Yeah.
That's it. It was able to be a lot more like, you know, just whatever it wanted to be without that God aspect in it. But I think it's funny that let's see, they can go, so they can go anywhere in their minds, right? Because they don't have bodies, or they're dead, so they can go anywhere in their minds. But they swim through water to get to the shore like 2 or 3 different times. They're swimming, and like you can just be like pop on the shore.
I close my eyes.
Close my eyes. Exactly. They keep saying that. Close your eyes. And you can go anywhere.
Close
Except
my
if you're
eyes,
swimming, you can't. You must swim to shore.
No, you must. I just like close my eyes and I'm in a girl's locker room. No. Not a guy's locker room. No, not full of stinky old fat old men.
Was that from an episode of Robot Chicken by any chance? No? Okay, I was just wondering.
I think it was. if I can remember that if there was he thinks of being in a locker room with women, with a locker room, but it ends up becoming a bunch of old sweaty old men.
Yeah, that would be, I mean,
no!
But then, so the last point that I really like to make is that, what was I going to say? Oh, that they say that there's no death, right? You can't die if you're already dead. They don't really talk about pain, physical pain, though. Whether you can feel physical pain, except I get the impression that there must be some sort of form of physical pain, because when they show up at the gates of hell and all that army's blocking the door, and they got weapons and spears and knives, like what would be the point in having any of those things at all?
Yeah, if you can't die.
Can't at least feel pain. So I thought that was strange too. Like there's a lot of contradictory sort of things in the movie. I enjoy the movie. It's definitely one of a kind. It's just, I don't know. It goes on for a while.
Yeah.
It's very sad and it's very kind of sappy at times. And the end is like, finally, like they're all united, like finally. And then once they actually are, you're like, well, thank God that happened that way. All right, I'm done with this movie now. Like you just want to see them together. They're together, great. All right. And then they just make up the rules as they go along. Like, hey, we're going to go have new lives again. We're going to go back to Earth.
We're going to meet up again. And
I'll find you on Earth. And the end is of a boy and a girl
meeting each other, and the boats crash, and the boat sinks.
Because at the very beginning of the movie, he says, opening line is, when I was young, I met a beautiful woman on the side of a lake, or I thought the shore of a lake, and they were in like some other country, and they boats kind of like collided
Crashed.
like a little bit, not crashed, but like bumped.
Yeah.
And they're all like giggling, whatever. And then at the very end, there's a little boy, like 5, like got a boy of 4 and a girl of 4, and they're sitting at a dock, and he's like, when I was very young, I met this beautiful girl on a lake, and that was them gone back to Earth, and it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. Like, you're in love, and you're gonna find each other no matter where you are. All right, go live again and stuff.
But my thought on this movie is, I would say I'd give it a thumbs up and a kind of thumbs down, but multiple choices. Boom,
Yeah,
multiple thumbs up.
I would do the same thing too, actually. I'd give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down.
Ow.
There were good things about it.
But the thing is, the main thing why we chose this movie was the main reason. We could have chose any other Robin Williams movies, but we decided to pick a movie with emotion and Robin Williams' serious acting, and I believe...
And it's kind of ironic because Robin Williams' character is dead in this movie.
Yeah.
And now he's actually dead in real life.
May he rest in peace.
Rest in peace,
Robin.
Tragic. It was a very tragic situation. I really broke my heart when I found out about it.
Social media that day blew up, I would like to say, and love just came pouring out.
Oh yeah, people love Robin Williams, man.
Yeah. But you know, folks, we're the Uh-Oh Movie Review crew, and we review movies.
Because we have nothing better to do.
Well, folks, we'll catch you a little bit later.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Until next time.
Till next time.